On my thumbnail this morning with the word transfer right next to him. Well, there is no breaking Romano news on this, but there is a definite story developing that people are talking about that have triggered my interest, that I've done some research into, and I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on with Conor Gallagher at the moment. And then you tell me whether you think that this isn't doable in January, because there has been the big developments this season at Atletico with Conor Gallagher. So this is something, when you put everything together, that really could actually hit the mark for Manchester United. And we know that United are interested in Gallagher. I'm going to tell you the story in this live show this morning. Give me your thoughts on that, everybody. Carlos Baleba being persuaded by Brian and Rumours to come to Manchester United. We're hearing from African sources about what was going on international duty as well. Baleba now actually in talks with Herzl, having private conversations about his game time. Is he trying to salvage something at Brighton, or is he just saying, well, where he wants to be? I honestly, with Carlos Baleba, I'm trying to shelf it till the summer. And this is why Conor Gallagher has pushed forward. We'll bring you up to date with all the other news in and out of Manchester United as well this morning. And get your live comments in, please, in the live chats. We are talking Conor Gallagher for one reason alone, and that is the unrest. I'm sick to death of talking about Kobbie Mainoo's future and the potential of him leaving Manchester United, and the stories are there this morning again. I just don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about the potential of Manchester United moving around this, what we can do this season. The season is imperative to everything that happens in the summer. First and foremost, Manchester United need to be winning games. We need to be back into Europe by the end of this season. That is all I care about, and all I'm looking at right now is potential for Manchester United to maybe bring Kobbie Mainoo in when AFCON kicks in, or maybe bring in another signing this January to help Manchester United in that final push towards the back end of the season. So whether you rate Ruben Amorim or not, whether you rate certain players in Manchester United or not, the system or whatever it is, it's like Opta have come up with stats overnight with Manchester United officially with the hardest start to a Premier League season out of any other club, and we're 2 points off top four. There is an opportunity for Manchester United this season. There really is. With not having as many games, we need to be really pushing on the second half of the season. So January is going to be huge on whatever we build right now in these coming months, in the next 3 months, in fact, building up to that window opening. Conor Gallagher's situation at Atletico Madrid is an interesting one now. There is reports going around about the playing time and what's actually happened with Simeone this season. When you look at the stats, when you look at the actual facts, and this is why I've brought this story up, and it's for us to decide whether we think it is genuine or not. So when you put it all together, you look at the fact that Manchester United did have an interest in Conor Gallagher at the back end of the transfer window. We were talking last night about Angelo Stiller and that interest for Manchester United. Conor Gallagher is a target that Manchester United may potentially get their hands on in January. Now, Conor Gallagher, like every single England player, has aspirations for playing for his national team and being back in the fold with England for the World Cup. Like, that is first and foremost, that's the big point. Now, he's up against some heavy hitters, but even just to get into the squad, he's an option for England and Thomas Tuchel there. So there's the first point in this one. But the most interesting thing with Conor Gallagher right now and at Atletico, obviously, they are still competing and challenging in La Liga. They're way off at the moment in terms of where Real Madrid are at, Barcelona. Again, the usual story there. And Conor Gallagher, who is seen as that constant in Atletico's side, not so much anymore. It has changed to a point where Conor Gallagher right now, when you look at his season stats so far and the game time that he's actually getting, you'll see plenty of appearances for Conor Gallagher in his stats, but he started 2 games. He started 2 games this season in La Liga for Simeone. And the report off the back of that is that he is looking to potentially get more game time. So here we go again with a potential loan move, perhaps, maybe, for Conor Gallagher. He is making substitute appearances for Atletico, and that's about it right now. He has finished 90 minutes of football once this season in about 14 games. He isn't that stonewall dead starter anymore. I don't know if there's any fallout. I've not looked too deep into the situation, and there's no need to really. When you look at these stats, when you look at what's happening, everyone is clamouring right now to get game time and feature. And Manchester United need a energetic midfielder who is going to be 100 mile an hour in that Ruben Amorim system. And Conor Gallagher was a genuine target for Manchester United Can we revisit the loan situation? I've asked the poll and I've asked the chat already this morning whether you would take Conor Gallagher this January in the transfer window if the right opportunity came around. And I said right opportunity because, like we've spoke about before, the main 3 targets, we have got an update on Adam Wharton as well coming up as well, that in this show as well, which I'll bring you. I forgot to mention that at the start, sorry, but we're not going to get any of the big ones in January. I do think it's imperative that Manchester United bring an extra body in January. I think it's massive. And the boost that will give to Ruben Amorim and his team and somebody else coming in with Premier League experience. And again, the one reason and the big tick on top of everything, the lack of game time, the fact that United already were interested in, the fact that Conor Gallagher wants to play in the World Cup for England, the Premier League proven experience of Conor Gallagher is massive. And if you can get that on a loan in January, because Conor Gallagher isn't happy at Atletico Madrid. Look, he may say that he's happy and he's happy where he is, but really? I don't think so. I mean, you're looking at him never playing a full 90 minutes, only on one occasion this season. And that is something that a first-team player would not be happy with. And the fact that he's only made 2 starts, he was hauled off in the first game of the season at half-time as well. These are the things that you start to look at and think, right, okay, if he's not being used properly, maybe Manchester United could test the waters there and go back in for Conor Gallagher. I think Gallagher would jump at the opportunity to get back to the Premier League and play, particularly at Manchester United's level right now. If he's going to come in and he's going to be a main feature, and here's a question I want to ask the chat as well, because this is why I'm looking at Gallagher and I actually rate Conor Gallagher for what we could do and use him for this season now. And look, he's not top of my priority list. He's not the player that I think Manchester United should be going all out for. But you know what? I think he fits what we need this season. And I would definitely bring him in. And you know what? I would start him ahead of Gallagher. I would start him ahead of Agate. I would start him ahead of Casemiro. That energetic player that can play 8 and 6 and is composed on the ball. That can get up and down that pitch. That Manchester United really, really need. And he is one of the best pressers of a midfielder that you will see in terms of energy levels as well. I think it's actually ideal because I don't think anyone else is coming in January from what we've been told. And of course, we'll cover every single story here on Forever United TV, as we always do, in hope that somebody does come into Manchester United and we do find that hidden gem. But I just think an opportunity might be creating itself here. I reckon it might be opening up and United should be all over this deal as well. But I'm asking the question to the live chat right now, actually. Would you start him ahead of an Agate, a Casemiro? Would you go for Conor Gallagher? We have got a poll running right now and it is already a simple one. Question-wise, would you take Conor Gallagher this January? 80% of the vote right now are saying, yes, I would take Conor Gallagher at Manchester United this January. And look, the information is there. We can make of it what we want. You can play it down if you want, but you have to look at all of these situations. And maybe we're trying to get ahead of another story here and try and create something and manifest something in happening. We're that desperate to bring midfielders in. And look, I've said all along, I like the fact that we could bring in academy players. I love the idea of that. But I know what Ruben needs right now when it comes to the crunch at the back end of next season is another midfielder, another body in there that has got the energy and experience of playing at the highest level. Conor Gallagher ticks every single box for what Ruben Amorim needs. And if it's just for 6 months, maybe with an option to buy at the end of it or some form of obligation at the right price if it's triggered after a certain performances being met, I'm all in on that. I think it would be a good move for Manchester United. Because let's not forget, you have still got the potential here of Manchester United losing 2 to 3 midfielders in the summer. And if you've already got one in January that can actually be in there and part of Manchester United's squad and the depth side of things, look, it kind of goes against what I've just said. Look, if Conor Gallagher's coming in, he's going to want game time. I think he'll get it at Manchester United. Whether he gets it after United spending the summer, I don't know. But it's up to the player to try and prove that point. And do you know what? Sometimes there is just that perfect fit for a player. If he is going to be good enough for Simeone to take him at Atletico Madrid, then right now for Manchester United, he is definitely up there for me and I think would be a very, very good purchase in January. Look, I'll say it one more time. I've not got him ahead of the other targets that we've been talking about at plenty. I just feel like he now is the right type of player. And people saying there, like straight as I can see it there, Chelsea reject. Can we look past Chelsea rejects? I actually think that Atletico Madrid are a bigger club than Chelsea. And Simeone is a top manager who took him for good money as well. It's not a Chelsea reject. This is a player that is used to playing at the highest level. And he is playing at a higher level than every single Manchester United player is at the moment. Well, this is the thing. He isn't really, is he? Because he's out of the side. So maybe this is the opportunity, like I said. Let's get some thoughts on this. Get into the comment section, everybody. Let's see what else we've got in here as well. Was he a Chelsea reject? I thought it was a lack of pathway. No, he wasn't a Chelsea reject. I think people are just debating that amongst themselves. Take him all day long. Better than Agate, says Paul, who's just renewed his membership. Thank you very much, mate. Another runner in midfield that can't pass and doesn't track runners. He does, though, Compost Smurf, doesn't he? He does. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been looking at him. I think he is ideal for what Manchester United need right now. Obviously, it has to be the right deal. I'm not going to go spend a fortune on him. And I'm making this point very, very clear. My other targets are there. I would not buy Conor Gallagher in January if it meant taking money away from bringing in the other players that we know we need in the summer transfer window. I'm just thinking for us right now, I think he is better than what we've got. I think he's better than Agate. I really do. And I think he would be useful for Manchester United. 80% of the vote are saying yes at the moment. So try and get into the poll, everybody, and have your say and bring it into the comment section as well. He wants minutes on the pitch because of the World Cup, so it could be good for us, says Tim. Where has Gallagher's story come from? It's a report that's coming out about the look from Conor Gallagher's people to try and get back into the England squad and him not featuring as much. It is a story and it is something that we could potentially jump onto. Nothing serious and nothing definite within it, but still, when you look at what options Manchester United have got in January, people have been bringing up a Ruben Neves type of signing for Manchester United. Who would you rather have, a Ruben Neves or a Conor Gallagher in your side? They're the sort of questions we're going to be looking at, because when this January window opens, these are the sorts of deals that we're going to be looking at. These are the sorts of deals that Manchester United are going to have to be thinking about to give Ruben another option. Otherwise, like we've said before, we're going to be into Manchester United's academy. That's where it's going to get interesting. But everybody, and this story comes about because of, like I said before, the Kobbie Mainoo situation. People saying that Kobbie Mainoo is done at Manchester United, finished. This is all of the comments that I was getting last night. I'm trying to hold on to the fact that Kobbie might actually get an opportunity at Manchester United still myself. And hopefully he does and proves us all right in what we're thinking in terms of the potential that he really has got. But looking past this, where does the conversation go then? If Kobbie wants out in January, we need somebody else in. And if it is a loan, then someone like Conor Gallagher is going to be the type of option you're looking at. You're not going to get a replacement for Kobbie Mainoo in January of the quality that we're really looking for, is to a replacement for Kobbie Mainoo who's better than him. You're not. I don't think Gallagher's better than Mainoo. I don't. But if Mainoo isn't going to play in this side and we need another body in that's going to work with Ruben, and we're trusting in Ruben because he's going to play Bruno every single game, we need a better option next to him. And in January, if we haven't got a Kobbie Mainoo there, then we need somebody in. And that's the big question. So these are the sorts of options that are going to start to pop up for Manchester United in January. It might be our only options. People saying that Gallagher's an awful footballer. Again, look at what we're looking at. This is the reaction that you're going to get. This is what I thought we'd actually get. A not good enough reaction to Conor Gallagher. He isn't good enough to come to Manchester United. Look, everyone was desperate to take him when we didn't get Carlos Baleba at the end of the summer. But now United are doing all right. The narrative has changed a little bit. And it's interesting to see where people are actually at. By the way, you're not actually wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong if you don't want Gallagher, by the way. Everyone's opinion is completely valid. And of course, it's just another option for Manchester United. Unless it's a primary target, loans only in January. And that's what I'm talking about. Would you take him on loan? I've said this from the start. I know a lot of people don't like the fact that we're looking at Gallagher because we're comparing him to the other players on our list. But if you're comparing him to the other players on our list, them other players are not going to be available until the summer. I'm talking about now, the here and now, getting back in Europe and doing anything possible to strengthen our position And that's where January comes in for deals like this, I feel. You have to be clever and ready to jump onto any opportunity. I just think he will be very useful to us for the back end of the season. Let's get a few more comments in on this. It'd be criminal playing Mainu further back. Bruno needs to go. He's not going to go. So we're just again dealing with this situation and what's happening right now and trying to work around what Ruben is going to be doing with Bruno Fernandes, because we all know what's coming. We can all have our opinions. It's not good enough. Bruno needs to be dropped. Mainu needs to be playing. Then we need to look for a better player. We're not going to get a better player because they're all too expensive. And Bruno is never going to be dropped. We have to accept where we are right now and what is coming. And Ruben is going to continue this way. So we're going to look for players that are going to fit for the here and now to give us that and strengthen that position, going into the back end of this season. So that's what I'm talking about this morning. And this story is developing because we know that there are going to be certain players that don't get game time at certain clubs. We have to be aware of certain situations that come about and then take advantage of them ourselves, maybe bringing in players on short-term loans. Look, we have done it in January before. Remember the Marcel Sabitzer transfer, another midfielder coming in. Could it be a similar scenario again where he just goes back to Atletico at the end of the season? I would take that right now. I would. I think there's a chance of Baleba in January with the way he's been playing Brighton. I might think it's time to cash in. Let's move on to Carlos Baleba because he is also in the stories this morning as well and in the headlines. Brian Mbumo has been talking up Manchester United and trying to get Carlos Baleba to come across on international duty. African resources, well, the international duty was on. I've been reporting that Brian Mbumo has been doing his agent Brian job. Carlos Baleba is in the stories this morning with private talks with Herzl. I've got no idea what the talks are about. I've seen the story, I've seen it come up. But just to answer Lee there in the chat, and people have been jumping onto what Lee said as well there, a few other people, maybe Carlos Baleba is pushing for a move to Manchester United with his performances. I don't think he is. I don't think Carlos Baleba is that type of player. I think Carlos Baleba is somebody, I feel, who has just lost his way right now. And Herzl is trying to get into him. And obviously, this story has only come about because, you guessed it, yes, Manchester United are playing Brighton this weekend. So you have to take that into consideration as well. And the media will drive this story up because United are playing Brighton this weekend. It's a massive game. It's Baleba's audition for Manchester United. That's what's going to be talked about going into the weekend's fixture anyway. We know this, and we know that Carlos Baleba is going to be a Man United target in the summer. I just don't see it happening. And even Romano has come out and said there is no real chance of Baleba leaving Brighton in January. They would ask for a extremely high price, a big bid for someone to take Carlos Baleba away. United are not going to do that in January. I think they're waiting it out for him now until the summer. If there was an opportunity, they would take it, I'm sure. But Brighton, again, have made their stance clear. And people like Romano talking about this kind of confirmed to us that there is nothing going to happen for Carlos Baleba in January. Look, I'm sure the stories will keep on surfacing and we'll get the rumour mill running rife with everything that could potentially happen in this transfer window coming up. But I still believe that Carlos Baleba is a summer target. United have not got the money to buy him in January. The moves in January United will be making will be more realistically like the Conor Gallagher one, or a potential loan move for somebody else, or something we have not quite heard of yet, or the story hasn't developed yet. It'll be a surprise signing if United do get anyone in January. None of the big guns, but the talks with Herzl are basically around what Fabian Herzl has been talking about to the media, that he has accepted that Carlos Baleba has had his head turned by Manchester United. And again, this weekend, I think a conversation is probably the right time to have it because he's heading over to a massive game. One what Brighton will probably go into confidently in because they've won the last 3 games at Old Trafford. So Herzl needs everybody on side, really. It'd be interesting to see if he does actually start Carlos Baleba. I think he will. I think Carlos Baleba will be chomping at the bit for this game. I think he's going to come out with... he's going to come out all guns blazing. I'd expect him to anyway. And that would impress me even more, to be honest. That would impress me more than Carlos Baleba sulking and mopsing around the pitch. I want to see him trying to take Man United apart. That needs to be the convincer for a lot of Manchester United fans. I don't want to see a player against us on Saturday that is mopsing around. That's not a player I want at Manchester United. You're on the biggest stage, so go out there, take your opportunity, and it's up to Manchester United to deal with him. So again, we'll see how it comes about, but them talks and everything around Baleba, I think we're going to get stories every single month leading up to July around Carlos Baleba. And then until that window opens in the summer, it's just going to be stories. Nothing significant, I don't think, anyway. Look, if you said to me that Manchester United are going to go out and get Carlos Baleba this January, I would be all over it. I would jump at that opportunity. I just don't think it's going to happen. Realistically as well, with the other two targets, Elliot Anderson, we were reporting last night that Manchester United have made it very, very clear now. There has been 2 or 3 stories now of definite concrete interest for Elliot Anderson from Manchester United. That was last night. Carlos Baleba has always been there from the summer. But Elliot Anderson's got European football. I can't see that happening. Obviously, as well, Adam Wharton's got European football with Crystal Palace. I can't see them moving him on. And they would want to carry on their European campaigns with their current clubs. So, looking at that situation, Carlos Baleba would be the only player that you could potentially get because he's going from one club that's not in Europe to another and he's not really missing out on anything. So, let's just see how this one develops with it. Pablo, we've just renewed his membership again. Thank you very much. I love to swap a Mainu for a central midfielder CDM. Smash the like buttons as well, people. Swapping Kobbie Mainu. Am I clinging on to Kobbie too much here, people, as well? Get into the comment section. Am I hoping that Kobbie Mainu is going to do something rather than seeing what Kobbie's really about? Or are we just looking at this like we was last night with the fact that he is not going to play under Amorim? He's not featuring. Look, I love Kobbie Mainu. I think he's a fantastic player. I have my concerns about the positions he's been playing in. I've always said Kobbie's a better 10. He is a number 10. He can do his business up there, but he's not going to play for Manchester United. My whole stance on this has always been that I fear that he's never going to get in the side. But am I overrating Kobbie Mainu in what I say? Is there a player there, or am I just hoping that there's a player there? I mean, you tell me in the comment section. It's our chat, it's our community. Get involved, everybody. Your opinion is just as valid as mine. I'm just talking out here in terms of how I feel as a United fan. I want to see more of him. I don't think we are going to. And a lot of the time, you know how I am. I'm pragmatic, and I'll just say it as it is. That I just don't see Kobbie having a future at Manchester United while Ruben's there. And I'm always going to try and back the manager where I can. And if he's not fitting in the side, then he needs to look elsewhere. I want him to feature somewhere, but I don't know. Even in the Bruno Fernandes role, is he good enough if Bruno isn't here? Or would you bring somebody else in? Because this is the thing. It's like, we've had many comments come in on the show saying that Mainu's done. Even if Bruno leaves, Mainu is done. I just, how have we gone from having this quality player to him being completely surplus to requirements and not good enough? Because I know Kobbie will be the next Scott McTominay. He will leave United and he will destroy it somewhere else. How does he get into this Manchester United side? I don't know if he does ever. That's the problem. I don't know if he ever will. And that's what's forcing me to push Kobbie out of the door at the moment. But I do believe that there is a player there. But tell me, is he good enough? Let's see what we've got in the chat here on this one. He wants Bruno on his coaching staff. Portugal compatriots. Bruno's never coaching. Bruno's going to play forever. It's just up to Manchester United to make it actually work for Bruno Fernandes and then let him go at the right time, I think. Pablo says, loan Mainu, give him game time elsewhere and loan in a CDM central midfielder. It's who we bring in though, isn't it? Kobbie has lost his legs. How can you lose your legs at 20? Come on, Ross. It can happen. Young, good on the ball, but too slow. Look, I don't think he's ever changed, to be honest. I really don't. If Bruno left, I'd still be buying someone else. How can he be fourth choice central midfielder? And we think he will replace Bruno. No chance he's not ever getting in. Look, it depends if the new manager's there or not. It depends if Ruben stays for Kobbie Mainu. That's what we're looking at here, I think. If Ruben is still in the picture, then Kobbie Mainoo is done. If he's not, then Kobbie Mainoo is in, I feel, because another manager, I think, will use him. ATKO says, Brighton get numbers around the pitch quickly. We have to match that. We don't play out comfortably, and we don't pin teams in their back third. This is a modern energy side. Can we control home tempo? That is interesting. You would have thought if we can do it to Arsenal at home, we can do it to Brighton at home. It's if Manchester United's mindset is right. Can we think in our heads that we are capable? No, not capable, sorry. Can we think in our heads as Man United players, can these players actually think that this is a big game? Can they drop themselves down to the so-called lesser team? No disrespect to Brighton, good side. But Manchester United get up and are on it for these big games. Can they do it for a so-called lesser game? Because this is the big question that the Man United fans have got about Manchester United's side right now. It's whether or not we can switch from the big game mode to the smaller game mode and keeping that same intensity. Like what De Ligt said, the focus was on a different level against Liverpool. That should be a standard for Manchester United. It really should. Super chat in from Ant. Thank you, Ant. If we had a midfield free, Kobbie would play. He doesn't fit though. Is it time to say goodbye to Kobbie? We don't develop our young players properly. If Kobbie can't get in and gain the experience to develop because Amorims wants to buy players, what real chance have our academy got? It's if they've got the character and the profile to fit a Ruben Amorims system. That's it. Look, you have to back what Ruben wants to do. And he sees what United have got. And he knows what United have got in that academy as well. Not surprised. We've been talking this week about Ruben Amorim continuously having conversations with Sir Jim Radcliffe. And then Sir Jim Radcliffe talking about Manchester United's academy on a podcast not being good enough. Ruben probably knows what he's got in his academy and doesn't think there's the right player there. He's testing them out. He's bringing each one into first team training. And it is getting to a point where we're now seeing who has got the credentials and potential to possibly come in. The talk of Shea Lacey, Jimmy Thwaites, players like this, Sekou Kone, Chido, for instance. These types of players knocking on the door. The only one that's got anywhere near it at the moment is Shea Lacey. And I think that's the general consensus coming from Manchester United and Carrington right now. People I know, people on the ground, people like Sully. It is all about Shea Lacey at the moment. And he could be one that comes in. But he's not a midfielder. And again, that's the issue here. This is why we've spoken about Lisandro Martinez coming back into the side, because he is comfortable stepping forward into that midfield role, like Ruben needs his centre-backs to do. I think De Ligt should stay in defence. I think he's learning that role and doing well at the moment. And then you're talking about over the top. You've got that pace behind Manchester United's defence. If United are trying to control a game, then they lose that control that they've got against a so-called bigger side. Because the expectation level is that United take the game to Brighton, we're at home and we've got to go and win. And Brighton counter-attack us for fun. And we're definitely not as organised as we was against Liverpool because we're expecting them to have the ball. The game changes quickly. And I don't think Ruben's got the perfect midfield to play continuously in every type of game. I think he's having to change it all of the time. And it will be very, very interesting to see what his lineup is and who starts in midfield at weekend, which combination he goes for. Intriguingly and interestingly, how he brought Casemiro off in that game. Now, I think it was predominantly just because he didn't want him to get a red card against Liverpool. I'm not saying that he brought him off because he needs him there and doesn't want him suspended for the Brighton game. I don't know which way he's going to go with it. It's going to be intriguing anyway to see how Ruben plays it out anyway on Saturday. Joe Boat alone to Brighton, Belabor 80 million. Joe Boat, is that Mainoo? Was that a typo? I'm not sure, Mark. Who's that? There's always a lot of talk on XYZ, but when do they get a chance to actually play? Let's say Bruno does get injured, who is ready to replace him? Well, that automatically, if we're looking at what we've got available, would be Kobbie Mainoo to replace Bruno, and then maybe one of the academy players comes through as well. at that point? I don't know. It's all if buts and maybes with Manchester United. But one thing we can say is that United really, when it comes to that midfield, don't have anyone ready. We don't. And I think that's the big takeaway from it. I don't think Manchester United have anyone. This is why we're doing so much of a push to try and bring in a midfielder. Now, on the midfielder and what might happen again, and I know it is all midfield talk today, but there is more talk on the Adam Wharton situation. So, where no price has been given, by the way, just throw some prices into the live chat for me, everybody. Adam Wharton, price you would pay for him, go. Give me your thoughts right now in the chat. Just put a price in there. You don't have to put anything else. I'll know what you're talking about. Just put a price in. We think 50 to 70 million, whatever it is. Just put the prices into the live chat, please, everybody, to gauge it. Because there is a story going around that's where Adam Wharton does have this gentleman's agreement. He is going to leave Crystal Palace this summer transfer window. He's done. Okay, fair enough. But the price has never been discussed. And all of a sudden, with the likes of Liverpool, Manchester United, other football clubs like Arsenal potentially as well, all coming into the fray, there is a thought within Crystal Palace that Adam Wharton is worth X amount of money. Now, just looking at the live chat has come up with 60, 75, 80 is the highest so far. 85 max, says Ant on that one. 60 to 70 mil. So we're bottoming out at 50 and then going up to 85 max. That's the general sort of look from the live chat anyway. So we're valuing Adam Wharton at 50 to 85 million, give or take. So I would say, I'll round that up from what's been said there, 50 to 80. That's what's going on right now. And the report coming out is that they rate him over 100 million. So again, here we go. At ludicrous numbers. They're rating Adam Wharton alongside a Caicedo type of midfielder. That's the sort of figure. If Carlos Baleba is going to go for 100 million, then Adam Wharton is also worth that as well. And clubs are now using what the transfer figures that other football clubs are using. So, for instance, if Baleba is worth that, if Elliot Anderson is worth that, then he is definitely worth that. And look, the price is whatever someone will pay for him. And this is what United are going to be up against. Have Ineos got it in them to spend 100 million to get an Adam Wharton? Have they got it in them to get 100 million bid in for Carlos Baleba? The next story that you're going to get out of all of this, again, is Elliot Anderson. He's worth 90 to 100 million as well. He's a full-on international for England. He's dislodged Jude Bellingham from the England squad with Thomas Tuchel. He's got to be worth 100 million. Bang, bang, bang. Up it goes. All of a sudden, you've got 3 top targets. You're going to have to spend, at least, a third, 2/3 maybe of your transfer budget on one player. You've got to pay to get the best, and other clubs around us will do that. But again, it all comes down to Manchester United actually doing well this season. And it brings us straight back to bringing somebody else in to help us in January to get to that point where we can afford these players. And this is why I don't think Manchester United are going to be jumping and chomping at the bits under Ineos in particular to renew a Harry Maguire or a Casemiro. All of these stories that the media have been bringing up recently about Casemiro new deal, Harry Maguire new deal, and then it being confirmed that there is no official formal talks for a new contract. There's no way that Manchester United are going to look at Casemiro and Maguire and re-signing them on the contracts that they're on right now. Yes, you can talk about cut price deals, but they need every single penny to work for them. And if they're going to move forward and start competing at the top again, they're going to have to spend at the top again. And that, I think, comes about in these 3 players here. You're going to have to spend a lot of money. You're going to be upwards of 100 million here, I think, for these players with the way that the clubs are operating and the way that the talk is at the moment. Because I get what they're doing. I don't blame Crystal Palace for coming out and saying that Adam Wharton's worth 100 million. He's performing alongside the likes of Anderson and better than Baleba this season. So if Baleba's 100, Adam Wharton will be 100. And Elliot Anderson will be 100 million. That unfortunately is the way it is going to go this summer. And they won't be bothered. They know that they will get that money because they know the teams that are bidding for them are probably Champions League teams who are being paid an absolute fortune at the moment. And that's where United are missing out, which is why I don't think we are going to renew the big contracts for certain players. It's why I think certain players will move on, because if United, even if we get Europa League football, we're still not going to be able to compete financially in the transfer market with the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City, because we don't have that backing of Champions League revenue. If United get Europa League, they can this summer actually go out and compete because of the players that we're moving on also. They can make this happen. And that's the big push from Manchester United, I think, and what's coming. I just don't see United being able to compete unless we are in European football. And I mean, look, conference football, I don't know. Look, any European football for Manchester United is going to be a bonus anyway because of the gate revenues, prize money, things like this. It's more money to Manchester United. This is why I think we will do the Saudi mini tournament as well in Riyadh season. So the money is there to buy these players, and that is where we're at with it right now. They know that these clubs are going to be pushing upwards of 100 million for these players that we need. It's either that or you go for your Angelo Stillers, you go for your Conor Gallaghers. And this is what United are up against right now. Is it the second-rate players, or can we make something happen this season where we get back into Europe and can compete to get the best players and move forward again? Because that so-called project, whatever it is, I can't even remember the name of it, of winning the title in 2028, fans will cling on to that and hold on to that and say, look, we want to see something happening here. United need to be in the Champions League to fund the stadium. United need to be in the Champions League to compete in the transfer market. And United need to be in the Champions League just to stay relevant in football, for God's sake. Like, it's embarrassing not competing midweek at the moment on any level. Like, Europa League might have just been, like, basically keeping our heads above water and keeping us actually relevant within European football. But we've not even got that. So, yeah, United need to do something this January to try and boost our chances of making something happen for next summer, I feel, as well. That's the point I'm trying to make and build into, really. This story is all about taking advantage of the now. No game weeks. no game weeks, double headers. Plenty of time for United to take advantage over other clubs that are competing in Europe and scrambling around. It's your last chance, I feel. Last chance for Manchester United. Let's get into the comments as well. Conference League, I don't even count as European football, but it's another game and it's more gate receipts. And that's what United will look at. More chance to build revenue. And I think it's a good chance to actually see some other players within Manchester United's squad as well. And I think it's easier for United to actually keep everyone happy if we're in something like that. Look, I'm with Carl. I don't want to be in that. I really don't count that competition. Although you could say it gets you into the Europa League if you win it. And if United were in the Conference League, I'd expect us to be picking that trophy up at a canter. I don't care. That would be embarrassing if we didn't win that competition. So, yeah, if United are in it, I'd expect United to win it. Whether you call it a trophy or not, I don't care. But it gets you into the Europa League, definitely. But obviously, as well, it gives you an opportunity to... It gives you an opportunity to get a few more minutes for certain players, see some academy players maybe. Maybe we do see someone jump out from the crowd. Maybe we could use that competition as a springboard for our academy players. Play the academy players through the league phases. Do you know what I mean? Like that is there for us to use, potentially. Look, 5th in the league, 6th. Let's get Europa League football. Let's get back to where we know we are right now as a team, and I think that is realistic. And then push on from there. Europa League next season, Champions League the season after. I still think there's a chance United could push for top 4 if they really get it together this season. Look, I've still not got enough confidence to even... After what I've seen this season so far, there's too many games where we have dropped off. I'm seeing positives and it is getting better. But I haven't seen enough to say that Manchester United are actually going and push forward and do a little bit more. That's what I feel anyway. I think Europa League is probably where we're at right now. 5th to 6th, I think we can 100% get that this season. I really do. Joe says 50 million and do add-ons up to 75 million. United won't get these players as we won't pay the wages like bigger clubs. No, we will pay the wages like bigger clubs. And don't forget, in terms of this, Joe's just made a big point. I was talking about this the other day. With the squad to ratio rule kicking in potentially this summer, alongside that, there is a push for a wage cap. Now, big clubs are not happy about this. And there's a reason they're not happy about this, because it takes their advantage away. If there is a wage cap, Manchester United actually are at a disadvantage. Manchester City are at a disadvantage because they need to be able to lure players in. And what is there appealing at Manchester City? Pep won't be there forever. He'll be gone. Next manager comes in. They've got no history. The fact that they're not filling stadiums right now tells you everything you need to know about Manchester City. They need to be able to pay decent wages to attract players in. And Manchester United also in that same boat, because their revenues are so high. The squad to ratio rule kicking in for PSR would benefit them massively ahead of other football clubs. So they don't want this wage cap. But if it does come in, then it's going to really hamper, I think, English teams, Premier League teams over the rest of Europe as well. So, yeah, I do think that there is a lot of changes coming up. And we have to be up there in and amongst it to take advantage of it. This is a huge season for Manchester United. We cannot take away the importance of it. We need to be up there and in Europe next season. And we can see so far, look, if we win this weekend, I'm convinced we're getting European football. That's what I'll say. That's how important this weekend is. This is a massive test for Manchester United. And everybody's waiting for us to fall. They are. If we win, I think it convinces a lot more people that United are actually in this season and we are competing for European places. How far up we go, we'll see, won't we? But I think it's huge. Don't forget tomorrow as well, everybody. Already, it's Friday. The weekend is here. Ruben Amorim's press conference ahead of that game against Brighton this weekend. Excited. Don't forget as well, make sure that you do hit that link in the live chat for your match bingo tickets as well, everybody. We are doing a Brighton special this weekend. Again, make sure that you're onto that. If you download the app by using the link in the description or the live chat, the QR code will be up on your screen as well in a minute. Download the app, create your account for free, deposit your money in. But as you deposit your money, and it was as little as £10, if you put in promo code FUTV, all capitals, then you will be boosted by 100% on that deposit amount. So double your money, people. Whatever you want to put in, it is £2 a game. And everybody who is playing it is winning at the moment. Well, most people are winning. £25 a line, like in bingo. Match events will cross off your bingo card. So if a goal goes in a certain minute and that's on your card, it gets crossed off. Hitting the post, hitting the crossbar, substituting a first in a certain minute, things like that on your scorecard. If they get crossed off and you get 5 in a row, 25 quid. If you get all 15, upwards of 200 quid prize money. You don't have to do anything. Pick your card, pick your game, and let it play out and have some fun with your mates and a bit of banter alongside watching it and just enjoy it. It is a great game. It is cheap. Please gamble aware as well. There are caps on the game to help you out. You have to be 18 and above and a UK resident also to play, everybody. So get involved. The QR code is on the screen right now as well, everyone, for simplicity. Get to it. Anyway, moving on to some more comments. United will work to UEFA's financial rules, which are stricter than the new incoming Premier League rules anyway. It's hard to tell how anchoring would impact us until we see the actual numbers involved. The Premier League's new squad to ratio rules are copying the UEFA financial fair play rules right now. And they have implemented them rules because they have upped the prize money. UEFA know that them financial rules are not appealing to every club, which is why they have upped the prize money in the Champions League. So clubs can actually benefit more from being in it. And the money is substantially more than what it was. And why do you think FIFA all of a sudden have come in with their Club World Cup new format as well? More money and more potential. It runs alongside the Champions League. You have to have been competing in the Champions League or winning it to be in the Club World Cup. So there you go again. It all links together. If there's any change in the financial fair play rules, there will be an incentive for clubs to meet them by earning more, by being in their competitions to get that money in the first place. It's a minefield when you look into the financial side of things in football. But all you need to know is more money is coming in, more money is going to be available, but you have to be competing at the top to get it. And United, like I said, get back in Europe. It is imperative that this club financially, for survival and doing what we've got plan-wise, have to be in Europe. If it's a big if we get into Europe, how many players will we need to sign in the summer? If Manchester United get into Europe in terms of squad size, to answer that question, Sanchez, I say right now, for Manchester United, I think we need to be buying another 5 players at least this summer. 5 quality players, maybe even more with what players are leaving. I feel if United do get into Europe, you might see certain players renewed contracts. The Harry Maguire one comes to mind. If United get into Europe next season, then United might look at Harry Maguire and go, we can afford him now because we're in Europe if he's on a reduced contract and it's another squad player that we might have to use in rotation. So, again, I could see Harry Maguire actually getting his new contract if United make Europe. I think United will wait till the end of the season. They're not going to give it him now. I think it's going to all be down on the last few weeks of the season, how it's all panning out and where United are actually going to be. I think that's when they'll make the decision. There's no mad rush. Like the reports that we've spoken about this week, there is no mad one for Manchester United to get Harry Maguire in and in this squad. So, yeah, this is, I feel, now, personally, I think a perfect opportunity for Manchester United to take advantage of where we're actually at right now. We are. Right, just checking through a few more comments. I worry that no Europe and the World Cup year is going to be very hard for us to get players. 2 years out of Europe is not good for us at all. I've said that so many times, Carl. It starts to then play onto players and agents' minds. Like United being out of Europe for a season, yeah, it's just a blip. Just a blip. United being out of Europe for 2 seasons, different ball game altogether. Completely different ball game. Because that then makes you feel like, oh, maybe there is a decline coming. We have to be in Europe next season. It would be catastrophic for Manchester United not to be. The manager would be gone. The players would be thinking twice. And players coming in would be thinking twice about coming to Manchester United. It's so important. Honestly, you can say that I'm bigging it up into something that it isn't, but it's not. I'm really not. This has to be the season where it changes for United. And it is in every single way. Like the plans, like we already know. Ineos have come out and told us that the next 5 years, the 5 years of finances at Manchester United are based off us being in the Europa League at least. If we don't get into the Europa League, and that was with being out of Europe this season as well. So they calculated no Europe this season, and then back into the Europa League at least next season. That's what United's finances are based on. So the whole plan ahead for this football club is with that in mind. So transfers, stadium, recruitment, players leaving, contract renewal, everything is based around United being in Europe. If we're not, bang, where do we go from there? It's Ruben gone. And it's completely starting over again with someone new. That's where we're at. It's so important that Manchester United get back in there. And hopefully we do. It means we've got a consistency there. It means that we've got Ruben in still. There's a full understanding. His feet are well and truly under the table now. There is no one going to be at the football club, I don't think, past this season, if Ruben survives, that has been there longer or substantially longer than him. And I'm talking about the players in that there as well. you're talking about the Maguires, the Brunos, the Dallos, the Luke Shaws. Like, Dallo will do anything to be in the side anyway, but it's like a fresh start because there is no one who has been there for that, for a long amount of time, a long period of time. That the whole coaching staff, the hierarchy, the players, it just feels like a fresh start. You've got no one lingering around who thinks they know more because they've been at the club longer. That sort of like feeling around Manchester United. But look, this is where we're actually at now as well. By the way, everybody, this morning I'm just going to try something new, a new feature for all you members out there. The live stream will continue. There is an extra live stream coming up here on Forever United TV in a few minutes' time. So if you stick around straight after this show, we are going to switch across to a members only live show as well. So that is in. I'm just going to try this out just as a bit of a thank you to the members and anybody who wants to be part of the members club. We're going to start doing this a little bit more right now. So as you can see at the top, I don't know if you guys can see it because this is all new on YouTube. We have a timer going down now to the show finishing and a members stream coming up later on. So I'm always going to carry on the normal live shows. We're always going to continue giving everybody that option, and I don't want people to just feel like they have to pay anything to get involved. It's completely free, this channel. I'm not going to force you to go into the membership. If you want to be a member, you will be a member. But I'm just going to try it out this morning just as a little bit of a thank you to the members who keep on renewing, because I'm constantly talking about people renewing memberships on this show, and I want to give something a little bit back. So we're going to do a bit of a Q&A this morning straight after this live show. If you want to stick around and actually be on that as one of the members, then I've got a few questions myself. I'm going to continue it on, and we're going to give everyone their chance to have a say. I'm going to answer every single member question that comes in, and we'll run it for a little bit longer also on the back of this as well. So yeah, there we go. We're going to do that as well. Let's just finish up with a few more of your comments in here from the general people watching as well. By the way, everybody, there is a very, very strong community here. Still about 30% of you, though, are not subscribed when watching the channel, so please do hit that subscribe button as well and join in this journey. We have smashed over the 100,000 mark this year. It is a record year for us in terms of views and everything on the channel as well, so thank you again, everybody. It's been absolutely epic as well. Let's get it for Dorgu and Dallo need to be replaced. I don't think Dorgu does. I think that's a bit harsh. He's not been here a year yet. Heaven is better than Dorgu, but it's a different position altogether. Casemiro and Bruno, Harry and De Ligt are only experienced leaders. Leaders, but again, are experienced leaders. But they have been here for so many years through the worst spells at this football club. So, are they worth keeping, is the question I would ask. Haven't we just bought a holding midfielder from Brazil and he's the captain? He's coming in the summer. We bought a 17-year-old Colombian player in Orozco. He is coming in the summer when he turns 18 for Manchester United. So that is another player that is arriving for Manchester United, but not until the summer. How good he is, we'll have to wait it out and see, won't we? There is plenty of time until that happens. And again, that's what we're talking about now. The summer is a long way away. It's all right talking about these players that could be at Manchester United, but where are we going to be playing next season is what we're talking about right now. And that, I think, is crucial for what's happening. So, again, like the future, I love it. I love the fact that we're bringing in younger players. I love the fact that we're doing the work behind the scenes to bring these players through. And I think now we are moving in the right direction. But this season still is absolutely huge for United to actually make sure that we are competing at the highest level next season for all of this young potential to come in. Because if we're not in Europe, I don't think we see these younger players. Because we'll be forced again, like we are this season, to play the first team players. So European football next season is the most important thing. And that's where we need to be. Stephen there says Bruno gets gassed after 70 minutes. Maybe we will see less minutes for Bruno Fernandes now. Maybe we'll start to see that come through. And it will be a slow transition into moving past Bruno Fernandes. Potentially is what we're seeing. Okay, right, so we are about to cross over into the members stream as well now, a new feature here on YouTube. I'm just going to give it a whirl, give it a try, so a bit of a Q&A for a few minutes over there on an extra stream for you members as well. All that's left for me to say again is on this show this morning, fantastic debate, great talking to people regarding the Conor Gallagher and the midfield situation. This is what we love. In terms of Conor Gallagher at Manchester United, 74% of you would take Conor Gallagher now. We are just shy of 1,000 votes on that as well, which is absolutely brilliant. So cheers for that this morning, everybody, as well, in getting into that debate around Conor Gallagher. I'll wrap that up there. Confident then that we should get Conor Gallagher. Mods, members, everybody in the chat, thank you so much. We are crossing over now to the members only one. Please hit that like button and subscribe to Forever United TV, everybody. And we should be into a members only stream. How that works,